Welcome to Some Guys Talking. Here we are. We're four guys getting together and having a chat. I am your host, Brian Holler. We are on the Beard Bros Media Network this month, and its show is actually sponsored by MJBizCon. So thank you very much to MJBizCon. And my co-host is Aaron Washington. Aaron, how in the heck are you today?
I am doing fantastic, my friend. I am doing great. Thank you. I'm trying to think. No, I'm doing great. There you go.
I was convincing. Well, sold. Yep, he's great, folks. Anyhow, no, I'm just kidding. Tommy, Eric, thank you so much for joining us. As everyone can see, there are two other of our special guests here. Tommy Ramos.
Hello. How are you? Eric Kriegstein, yes. It's all good.
Eric Kriegstein, Eric K, if you will.
Eric K.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you today?
Very good.
Anyhow, how's things going?
Things are good. It's a pleasure to be here. It's been very busy. You caught us at a very exciting and busy time for the company and our products. So it's a pleasure to share all the progress we've made and catch up, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, here we are. As everybody knows on our show, we just like to kind of tell the story of how you came to be where you are in the space. But first, before we get into that, who are you and what do you do, right? What is TetraSense and who are Tommy and Eric?
Fantastic. Who should lead? You want to lead, Tommy?
Start, then you can close it out.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, Tommy, lead us off.
Yeah. My name is Tommy Ramos. I am the Chief Commercial Officer here at TetraSense. I've been in the cannabis space for 11, going on 12 years. I love it. It's a chaotic space, but it is something that I truly believe in and passionate about. Cannabis is amazing in all aspects. You know what I'm saying? And so it helps people, and I just want to make sure that we kill the stigma of cannabis. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Good. Right. Exactly right.
And I'm Eric Kriegstein, Eric K. Eric behind the scenes, on paper, I'm CEO of this company. Pragmatically, I make sure that everything works as intended, and we can develop and ship this product and delight as many customers around North America and hopefully the world as possible. And make sure that it's as performant and accessible as it can be. So that's sort of the high level story, but we'll get into, I think, in the details as we go.
Well, sure. Well, certainly it checks the boxes for, the passion that you can clearly have for, the space. And so now I'm sure we've teased people enough to be like, well, what do they do? Like a chief commercial officer, CEO, Aaron, yes?
I'm looking at the lab and I want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'm going to wait. So, yes, tell us about.
You're like, I need to know all the things.
I'm looking in the background, like, okay, there's over there. Okay.
That's right. Let's
sure.
get into that. What's that thing over there behind there? Exactly. Right.
You want?
Yes. Yes, Derek. What?
Is that where you want to start, or
no? Okay. Well, I mean, we can, but I have a feeling that'll be a very large portion of things that we chat about. What is TetraSense? That's, I think, what people are wanting to know, right? What are you, the CEO and CCO, respectively, of?
Yeah.
And there it is, Tommy.
I'll give the very eloquent version. I think Tommy can elaborate, because he's been front and center championing this product to your audience. But the high level story is with TetraSense. TetraSense is sort of the world's first cannabinoid potency testing platform that delivers on three key value propositions, which is speed, accuracy, and accessibility in a way that none of our competition or really any other technology that's come into this space has solved. And my pitch is that we achieve this using some very special and novel technology that has never been used before in this space, namely electrochemistry. So you can think what goes on behind, under the hood of this instrument. The TetraSense is analogous to a glucometer, where diabetic patients take their blood and measure blood glucose levels. So we use electricity to interrogate the sample high level. Right. And that path has unlocked, tremendous performance and capabilities that, you know, we're really excited now that we're finally shipping to the world.
Very cool. Tommy, anything to add to that? You know,
Yeah,
you want to give the markety version of that?
Well, I mean, really, to break it down, I mean, I come from the lab testing world, right? And you know, being in the industry for so long, I've worked with so many, you know, cultivators, growers, just a lot of plant touching people. And a lot of the time, if you need a potency panel, it can take several days, a couple of weeks sometimes, right? And cost a lot of money. But now we can give that transparency and ease to get your potency at any time that you want immediately, you know, and it's literally this size. It's smaller than my cell phone, you know what I mean? And it gives you lab accuracy results. And I mean, that's why I'm here. I think it's something that's really disruptive in the space and something that the space needs, honestly. Yeah.
Nice. Agreed. You know, Aaron, you're saying?
No, I'm taking it all in. So how did you get, well, let's start with your path and just the world of plants. And let's start with both of your origin stories. Who wants to go, Eric or Tommy?
Tommy, you pick.
Yeah. My story is kind of long. Do you want me to go first, or Eric?
Yeah, you pick who goes first.
Yeah, Eric, go first.
All right, I'll go first. So
Yeah.
I'll make mine a little shorter. And you know, if you had asked me 2 years ago that I would be on this podcast with you gentlemen, I never would have thought in a million years I would find myself sort of telling this story. My background is not in the industry at all, you know. So I'm an entrepreneur. I was working in finance before business school. I became an entrepreneur after business school, and before joining this company, I was actually previously CEO of a startup in San Francisco doing remote patient monitoring to predict elderly patient deterioration. And so the company that is shipped TetraSense, that I'm the CEO of, Infusense, you know, is actually by origin a biomedical device company. And the intellectual property we've developed and the core applications, which we continue to advance with our scientific team, involve things like drug toxicity testing for patient overdose in the ER, or therapeutic drug monitoring at home for certain targets. But we decided basically over 2 years ago at the company level, when I joined, could we find an attractive application for rapidly, accurately measuring precise concentrations of a certain drug, namely a lipophilic drug target, which is a class of molecules that's a lot of drugs, just means it, you know, dissolves in oil, not water. And it turns out it's hard. Not everybody wants to measure every, you know, drug all the time very accurately, right? That's the reason the glucometer is one of the only household names, right, for drug testing technology. But in my investigation with the company, we came to understand pretty quickly that, lo and behold, the cannabis and hemp industries have a very acute unmet need to rapidly and accurately measure the presence of these major cannabinoids in samples at all times in the entire vertical stack of the industry, from, you know, what Tommy can, you know, speak more eloquently about, like, you know, genotype, phenotype hunting, cultivation, down to, you know, retail, essentially, right? Everybody wants to know what is the concentration of THC, THCA, CBD, CBDA, without having to wait for days for a lab to turn it around with very expensive equipment. Wow. So once we found this, that was the easy part, okay? Determining that this was an application that was valuable, right? As I took over when I was at the company helm, and then the real hard part was actually creating this product. There was a lot of non-trivial R&D and science that has gone into making TetraSense, which I'll spare you for this podcast, but Tommy has been exposed to some of that. But we're really proud that we have this product now. We're shipping it. It's really game changing. You know, we haven't really invested in any sales and marketing until Tommy joined us. I'm really proud that we got Tommy to join us. We knew as we grow this business, we would benefit from having somebody who's an expert in the space, who comes from this industry and has exposure even to things like laboratory information management systems. And so Tommy was a fantastic addition to the team, and he's really championing the rollout of this technology to people who are probably watching this show.
Yep.
That sounds like a perfect transition, Tommy.
Well, thank you, Eric. So my background, I mean, cannabis has always been part of me, just culturally. I used to grow, back in the day. I sold it, and
Sure.
but my background, career-wise, I was in the wine industry. I was a purchasing manager for Pacific Wine, and then I kind of transitioned into the tech space, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in 2010, this is how I got into the cannabis space. So in 2010, my sister in San Francisco, she got in a really bad car accident. We were parked in front of USF, the college out there. We had just come back from a Rat-a-tat show, and it was my wife's birthday. Well, she wasn't my wife yet, but we were just friends back then. But they were parked right in front of USF, and I was in the car in front of them. And this guy comes down, this drunk driver hits my sister's car at, I think, 55 miles an hour. And my sister I thought she was dead, right? She got hit. Her head was like out of the window. It was just really, yeah, it was bad. Sorry, I haven't relived this in a while.
We didn't mean to bring you here.
No. It's important to why I'm in cannabis, right?
Sure.
And so, that happened, and she was in a coma for a couple months. She got out of it. She had her spine was broken. She had crazy traumatic brain injuries. You know what I mean? And the doctors were basically like, well, she's fucked up. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. You can. We're good here. In fact, if you need to light a joint while you're telling the story, it's very acceptable practice. All good.
But because of her injuries and a lot of, she went through many surgeries to correct her spine.
Yep.
They put her on the worst type of medication. She was on Oxycontin. She was just on a ton of that stuff. Then she got addicted. Okay. And this is in 2010. And for about 3-4 years until about 2013, I mean, she was in a really bad place. She was recovering. She started, when they wouldn't give her meds, she started looking for other looking for heroin and other, to get that. And so I talked to her doctor, and I was just like, hey, look, we need to stop this. This is killing my sister. Like, what else can we do? And then we started talking about cannabis. At the time, the Bay Area was still in, the medical days, right? Which was awesome.
Sure.
He goes, let's get her a med card. Great. Let's do that. So we got her a med card. She got off the meds. Then we started using a website called Leafly. Leafly.com, right? Everyone knows Leafly. And at that time, Leafly was just, you got on there for education on cannabis strains and whatnot, right? So that was my introduction to the actual cannabis space, like the business world of it, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward 2015, I move out here to Washington State from the Bay Area, right? And I'm at a tech place in San Francisco. I'm looking to just kind of restart my career out here. My wife goes, hey, that website you guys are using all the time, Leafly? I was like, yeah. He goes, they're here in Seattle. Why don't you go hit them up? And so I hit them up. What was that?
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah. So I hit them up, and at the time, Private Share Holdings, Brendan Kennedy was running everything over there. I talked to them, and they were like, "Come in, like your background looks good. Like we're trying to build a sales team," and that was kind of the start of it. In 2015, I was one of the legacy hires there, and I was the general manager for the California market. And that's how it started. So I was at Leafly for about 5 years, and I kind of bounced around. The pandemic was kind of a crazy time for the cannabis space, right?
Yeah.
And so in that during that time, I went from Confident Cannabis, I went to Weed Maps, Surfside, and then I came back to Confident Cannabis, and that's where I totally focused on lab testing, right? And having transparency with lab results, right? I was very happy at that at Confident, and that's when Eric gave me a call. He gave me the pitch. Hey, look, we have this device. You know what I mean? We need to break through the cannabis industry. What do you think of this? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what everyone needs, especially with, this day and age where there's a lot of false potency results out there.
Yep.
Right. This kind of keeps everyone in check and, keeps things transparent. So,
it does. It allows you to allows you to know your stuff before you go in, and you can have something to compare to, which is a big deal for a multitude of reasons that we can get into. But yes, Tommy, so that's a pretty interesting background. Ultimately, I have the experience, or I'm from the Northwest, as you guys know as well, and so hearing that journey of yours is interesting because Bay Area, Northwest, that's me, and so that's interesting as well. But you're definitely well poised with that experience to do what you're doing for TetraSense. I get why it kind of the dots were connected for that opportunity. That makes a lot of sense. And, I wish in some respects, I wish I didn't hear so many stories like your sister's, but in the other side of that is that I do like to hear them too, because they normalize and destigmatize, and they prove what we all know on this call, which is, cannabis is medicine, my friend.
Exactly. There's a ton of people out there, and I don't want to, be divisive here, but, there's a lot of people out there that think that cannabis is not a medicine, and having the story with my sister, like, really proves that it is medicine, because it does. It literally saved her life.
I want to speak to that, and I really appreciate that story resonated with me, because that is the reason why I got involved in the cannabis space, because I believe the same thing. So, and just very quickly for myself, I was a lifelong drinker. Literally killed me. And it I was reading about Cali Sober, and literally I said, let me give this a shot. Nothing else is working. And I'm telling you, that night with that gummy, literally the light went off and I never touched another drop. I've been 6.5 years sober, coming this I don't put the cart before the horse, but this January it would be 7 years. But literally it was the same thing. It was like, I can't. And it literally, that plant opened my mind. And literally I remember hearing it go off, and it literally said, what the fuck are you doing? You've got a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters. You are just, what the fuck is, and literally it was like, oh. And I remember I'm like, oh, okay. And never touched, and nothing worked before that. So I totally appreciate that. And that's why I got involved in it, because I wanted to show people that it's not what you think it is. It is a solution to many other problems, whether it's prescription drugs, alcohol, opioid, whatever. It's another option. And I'm with you. It saved my life. It's made me a better father, husband. And I guarantee you, without the plant, I would not be sitting here right now. I can guarantee it. So we can get back to the order of business, but I appreciate that. So now I can see why the mission, there's a fire there for you, because it's personal and you want to spread that word. And especially in the cannabis space, which is difficult, it takes dedication to stay in it. So that just shows the heart. So I appreciate that. And I can see why the two of you, that's a perfect, matching together for the mission. So sorry.
No, Aaron, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
No, right on.
Yeah. Ultimately, both, want to make sure that people have healthy products, but you need them to have the products too. And so, I think that's a representative of just a love for basically making sure people have options that can make them feel better in different ways and improve their lives. In different ways, which is certainly we all have our stories, and ultimately that's, I think, a driving force for a lot of people being in the industry or in the space.
And this product also helps because it makes sure that people have the experience that they're looking to have, like whether it's too much or too little, it gets them, because how many people go in, I've tried to tell people about, the benefits of cannabis, and I've worked in it for coming up on 6-7 years. And I try to tell people, and there are still people in my family, well, I got the wrong thing and had a bad experience, and I don't want to try it anymore because it was either nothing or it was too much. So there you go. You know what you're getting. It gives, the consumer and the patient, education.
Right, Aaron. I'm a daily consumer, and I don't want to smoke cannabis that's 35% all day. You know what I mean? Like that's too much for me, and so I definitely want to know, especially, let me pivot real quick to a story that happened at a trade show that just passed in New York City. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say any names here, but this brand comes up. We were doing a potency, kind of like a potency test your potency test, or a potency contest, right?
Sure, right.
And one of these brands comes up and was just like, hey man, this is 36%. And I was like, let's test it, and it's like, what's your COA say? And he goes, it says 36.8%. He goes, we're going to win this. I was like, okay. And so, we take out our TetraSense, we run the test, we do everything. And the first thing that came up was, I think it was like 14.8%. And he was like, that's wrong. Run it again. I said, okay, that's fine. So, we open it, we take another nug out, we break it up. Second time, it was like 14.7, and then now he's getting angry, right?
Yeah.
He goes, there has to be something wrong with that device. I'm like, let's do it 3 times, man. Like, you pick out the best nug from this jar, and you tell me.
Holy
yeah, then we break it up, and then that one was a little bit higher. It might have been like 15.2, but then, I mean, the moral of the story is that they were lying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, you think?
2.5. Sir. Yeah.
I mean, wow, that's never happened. That's the first time that's ever happened in the space ever. That's crazy. That's wild. Like, wow, how could this be?
Well, I've learned to be a little more delicate with this issue. As an industry outsider, I now recognize. Look, there's a couple explanations, right? It could be that the laboratory cherry-picked part of the flower that's very potent for their analysis, right?
Okay.
Or
very magnanimous.
I mean,
plausible. Also. Yes, that could be.
It could be, but I think there's a lot of statistical data from other laboratories that we know of that we've worked with, where there's clearly funny business in the testing business, ironically, which is something I think we address with our product.
So that leads to the question: how do you use electricity to measure potency?
Well, without going too deep, in the weeds, if you go to our website, which is going to be refreshed thanks to Tommy in a very beautiful way, I think in a week or so, so we're going to have a fantastic video. You'll see me dancing around, demoing this with professional videography. So hopefully I look and sound good, but more importantly, we spell out all the steps in video on our website and the channel of how the testing works. And the basic premise is it's kind of like a lab test, a light version of less heavy process for sample prep. You weigh a sample that you're going to analyze. You can use a cheap, like $20 scale from Amazon.
Sure.
We've made it so accessible. So, you weigh, let's call it 0.2 grams, 200 milligrams for flour. You drop it into one of our pre-aliquoted solvent tubes, which is a fancy word of saying pre-measured. Agitate it, and then dilute it, and ultimately squirt the sample, inject it into one of these disposable cartridges that comes with the instrument. And the sample sits in this well in here in the chip, which plugs into the device. And when you click scan on the computer, the instrument uses electricity to interrogate the sample that's on the chip and gather data using electrical impulses, if you will, which then gets sent to our cloud and is interpreted, and then you get an instant report for the presence and concentration of these drugs.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
It's
Aaron,
awesome.
let me ask you a question just to get a little deeper into the electrical pulses. So when we inject the solution that has the THC in it, right, and we put it in here, it pulsates the electricity through the chip, and I think what people want to know is how the electricity kind of.
You don't need to.
I mean, it's a situation where
How does it analyze the liquid, basically?
I don't want to go too deep in the weeds, scientifically, but I will say, and I said this to Tommy, I think a lot of your people who are listening in, and I've been very impressed with. There's a lot of very deep technical expertise in the cannabis industry, right? Yes. I showed up as an outsider. Biomedical startup, and lo and behold, Tommy and I are at these conferences, and more often than not, people much smarter than me with a PhD, master's in engineering, start asking, very technical questions. So I'm sure those in the audience who have those backgrounds and go to our website will be able to derive more of the methods. But more importantly, I think for the broader audience and really for everybody is that we are on the cusp of our first independent validation study that we paid a lot of money for. It takes a lot of time. It'll be done for the very beginning of December at the latest. And so we have a fully arm's length study where we gave this TetraSense and test kits to ISO accredited lab in Massachusetts where I'm sitting. And they are performing, double blind analysis to analyze samples, and they're splitting the samples. So they're running them on, $50,000, $100,000 Agilent HPLC machine, which is the Rolls-Royce gold standard, as everyone knows in this industry, and then also running the samples on TetraSense. And so we're going to show, in no uncertain terms, this is where we perform today, and it's looking very good. That's good. On wood. That's awesome. And we're going to be really proud to show that because it's really going to be indisputable evidence of how
that's a fantastic way to knock it out.
Yeah,
because that's the obvious places people would go, right?
That's right. So we're very eager to share that with the industry and the community, because it's really this product, and our mission is all about accuracy, accessibility, and also really, I think philosophically, what we discussed was transparency, right? Right? Because we can't. We feel like we're solving these issues, which are not trivial, where laboratories, as we joked, are oftentimes fabricating information.
Right.
For a variety
it's going to be more timely for a multitude of reasons. And first of all, if getting nerdy about the science and medicinal and and technological aspects of all of this didn't serve our purposes, trust me, the CRO, CMO type guy would steer us in a different direction. But I assure you, the audience, in fact, loves the heck out of it. And I, as a guy who is sort of smart, I guess, am humbled so often in this space by the incredible knowledge and talent and expertise of not only people like yourselves, but a whole lot of other amazing people that I get to the pleasure of knowing, running into, working with, etc. So, if people want to talk about devil's lettuce and we're a bunch of stoners who don't know what the fuck we're doing, I dare them to try to check us on that. 100%. You're more than welcome to go ahead, and I'm happy to address those issues for anybody who wants to. So I thought you were gonna, that's one area of it. What area?
I thought you were going to say, if nerding out is wrong, I don't want to be right. I was waiting.
Well, that's fair too. Truthfully, if getting into it and getting nerdy about it ain't wrong, do I really want to be right?
I want to be right.
And now I switch back to, hey, speaking of getting a chance to show off TetraSense, I wonder if there's a big conference coming up in the next week or so where you might be able to, amplify such things, right? Or I wonder if you might be on a show that could help you, start bringing attention to these things. Or I wonder if you might be working with certain people who might be able to help in that direction. Or, hey, what's coming up soon where we can see TetraSense?
Yes.
Of course, Vegas is coming up next week. You guys will be at MJBizCon as well. So if anybody listening to this, which we probably have a decent amount of folks who are listening to this to be there, I highly suggest going to check out TetraSense there. Where will you guys be exactly?
Yeah, we're going to be at booth 26222 at MJBiz. We're going to have 2 tables set up where we're going to be running tests. We're going to be doing our potency contest like we do.
It's a layup. You guys have the greatest activation. It causes buzz all around everywhere. Pisses half the people off. The other people are amazed. It's perfect thing.
No one's going to bring 36 tests to you, bro.
I'm telling you, it happens every time. Someone's going to be like, this is 30%. This is 40%. I'm like, all right, let's check it out.
If you hear a big, fuck you, Tommy, it's not necessarily like he did anything wrong.
That's my bad. Yeah.
He's just doing his job.
I'm just doing
but if you do hear that, you might want to go check out what the hell's going on.
And you can get really cool merch. We have weed tester merch that we give away at all of our activations, which people love.
Yeah. I assume you both will be there.
We will be there.
We'll be there.
Not only will we be there, but we are bringing sort of a limited number of TetraSense devices and test kits that will be for sale at the show, which we're very proud of. You know, it's very elegant packaging and really a cool product. And there will be a very, special discount for the people who show up and buy that product, buy our testing technology in the show.
Taking it down. Okay, yeah. So,
hopefully that gets people excited. Yeah.
That is awesome. I definitely look forward to seeing you all there. I'll be there, of course. And, I think that's a great opportunity for people. And yes, mine's in the mail. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. That's, I think, a wonderful idea. I just think it's a really cool opportunity to show it off. And speaking of activations, I think that's a layup for you guys all the time, right? Hey, prove it is probably what you get asked more than anything, right?
Nailed it. Yeah, prove it. Prove it. And we're here to prove it. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of devices in my day. Prove it, right?
You say, are you sure? You want me to prove it? Are you sure?
Yeah, are you sure? Yeah,
that's another.
35%.
Are you sure?
Be careful. Yeah, be careful what you ask for. That is for sure.
All right, and you can send me one and say weed tester, and then say, "Are you sure?" on the back.
I'm going to send you guys some of these. Yeah.
Oh man, I would love that.
Yeah, you get one.
So, are you doing anything else while you're there that week, or just mainly focusing on the show, and then of course, maybe going to some other things?
Well, we're focusing on the show. I mean, there's a pretty high probability we'll even show off some new capabilities of the technology that we have that are not, have not been publicized. But it looks like, our scientists who are fantastic we're on the cusp of offering a new kit feature to analyze a different matrix. So I believe we will be demoing edible samples. Now we're not shipping that yet, but it's a tricky thing to analyze a gummy, for example, right? It's a little harder to dissolve that and extract the cannabinoids for testing quickly, but it looks like we figured that out in a very sort of effective and high speed manner. So we'll be previewing some of the other stuff that's coming down the pipe, which is I think it's good to let everybody know too, right? That this is our first inning of 9 with this initial. So the initial product that we're offering, this test kit for Potency, is not, even though I think it's dynamite, and there's even better things we can do to make the existing Potency kit even more performant and accessible. We have other tricks up our sleeve. Yeah, we have a pipeline of other applications for this industry that we intend to roll out in the coming months and year, call it.
Of course. I mean, if you see the path, you could go pretty far
before
you're done.
Yeah.
So off you go. And that's great news. And Aaron, I think we broke some pretty cool news here on our show.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, kind of doing the thing. Aaron, I just did remember Aaron's in Massachusetts as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, where are you located, Eric?
So I'm in a suburb of Boston called Wellesley, which I'm sure you've heard.
So I'm born and raised in Boston, so you could just say Wellesley. I'm good.
All right, that's great. So you're very fluent in
Yeah,
the
he's fluent.
situation out here. Yeah.
Born and raised in Boston and went to school in Lexington. So,
Oh,
and now
fantastic.
I'm in a town called Northbridge. It's between Hopkinton and Worcester.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
I know where Wellesley is, right on.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, it's a little sleepy, but it's okay.
No.
But spiritually, I'm always in this lab behind me, which is in our company headquarters,
There we go.
which is in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is actually one of our 2 laboratories where we develop all of our core technology. One of our wet labs. Yeah.
Very cool. So where's the other one? You got Tennessee and then.
Well, they're both co-located in the same facility. It's just it's one photo. Yeah.
Nice.
So,
very good. That's pretty awesome.
We're a science first company. It's great that Tommy has joined and we can effectively connect with people like you and people in the industry, right? Because before Tommy, we were hiding in this science basement, unknown to the world, just toiling away, developing the TetraSense.
People in the world are doing that right as we speak. They do it all the time.
Right.
They just forget that there's like a world that needs to hear about their and see their innovations and learn in multitude of ways. That's the job of a lot of other of us, like us. That's a fantastic part of what I get the fortune of doing. Is to bring to light things like this, right? And to talk about, innovative products that help people understand what they're putting into their bodies and to help protect operators and to help inform decision makers and spaces, help protect against, different, situations that could happen that could deter positive progress, to show off innovation and technology. These are important things for everybody to understand, especially in a space where you have so much entrepreneurial spirit, right? So much community, so much, innovation. It's important to understand how it all works together. Also important to know, the reasons why, things like this exist. So, you all are serving a great purpose. It's awesome when you check all those boxes, right? Get to be a tech nerd, get to help people, get to be in the space, Tommy gets to smoke hella weed, it all works out for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So and anyways, you guys should be really proud of what you've done. And I look forward to seeing more and more because I really do think something like this is very helpful in a lot of ways. And I know you have a lot of different plans for how you can, develop the product into a multitude of facets. So really cool.
That's a good question. So where do you see things working? So my question is, if things went the way that you would like them to go, where do you see the company going? Like what would be the goal and what would be, what would make you happy?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. So I guess, with the existing technology, I would love to see TetraSense become sort of the undisputed standard for rapid cannabinoid potency testing.
Sure.
And really to make this accessible in a way that more and more of the customers, consumers, anyone sort of globally can test the veracity of their substance and quantify what cannabinoids are present. And as I alluded to, I think as we broaden the categories of analytes, we can measure, there's things we can do, maybe some higher stakes measurements for the industry, like where, a COA might fail, like heavy metals and pesticides, potentially mold, right? These are things we can do with varying degrees. I was saying, so to be able to I would love to quickly establish ourselves as the leader for what we've got in hand, and then expand into other unmet needs for the industry, where maybe even, as you alluded to, potency is a valuable thing, and some people have adverse effects with different, dosing of cannabinoid, and then there's of course even regulatory issues if cannabinoids present or not. So it's not a trivial thing to accurately measure things like THC and THCA, but if we can, clearly distinguish if there's heavy metals like lead or arsenic in a sample, right, or pesticides, that's we've heard from the people who are cultivating and working in this industry, that's a big deal too, and so we're excited to develop that pipeline.
Yeah, well, that's it checks both boxes because not only is it important, like you're a solopreneur, you're a small strapped business. TetraSense can be super helpful to you, just the same as it could be for a high level, enterprise level operation. And
That's exactly
that,
it.
my friends, is something very special. Not only that, I assume at a point, or even right now, you can even pitch to just regular consumers who are interested in sort of maybe even checking the validity of their own, products that they're buying too.
It's all about access, right? There's just so many
Mhm.
people out there that don't have access to
Right.
an accredited lab, and if we can give them that same type of technology that a lab would give them at home, then I mean that's everything, right?
Think about the buyer who goes in and says, like, I want to buy this, and you have like actual info, like what you're buying is that. I mean, come on now.
Right.
You're negotiating with 36% versus 14%. The difference in that, because they're going to say, this is 36, you should buy this. And you're like, no, it's not. It's 14. What are you talking about?
It's right here.
You don't even have to say nothing. You just be like,
very, very gracious. You're like, well, it could have happened if they took a little sample. No, it couldn't happen. They were totally fudging the numbers. 2.5%. No, you're being nice. They were totally blowing it up. Oh, yeah. They're like, give me the number times 2.5.
Yeah.
And mark it up. It's fire.
Right. You're like,
love it.
Yes. There's places where we do that. There's places where we don't do that. Folks.
Right.
Like, yeah. And so anyway, beyond, so you'll be showing it off at MJBiz, which is great. Mm-hmm. Please go check them out at their booth. What is beyond that though? Q1, like Aaron was saying, there's the expansion strategy. What are your, sort of, let's say, go short-term goals for, TetraSense, not in the altruistic or sort of, creative way, but like what, quite frankly, are you doing, to
right now, it's really
move things forward? It's the website. I heard that was mentioned.
It's building awareness. It's building awareness to our brand right now. You know what I mean? And so, there have been a lot of other devices that have come out in the past that says, hey, we can do potency. They didn't really work, as well as we have, or the technology wasn't as good. So we kind of hold the past's reputation, right? Mm-hmm. So right now it's all about building our brand, bringing awareness that, hey, look, we are this legit. We are as good as the lab,
Something new.
So you have to repeat and repeat way more than you're comfortable with, and you've already lived this for so long. So that's what I was trying to get to, and I'm glad you teed me up, Tommy, because bottom line is people, and Eric, you were talking about this earlier too. At a point in the business, don't care what kind of business you are, you're going to get to a point where everything's pretty solid. You have your processes in place. You're not trying to build anything more or create any necessarily more revenue streams that are core to what you do or what you're selling or pitching. And then you probably got there and maybe got some motor going through your network, connections, core partners, opportunities. But at a point, that happens.
Right.
And that's when this happens. Right. Mm-hmm. And so
what is that? Is this flat? Is that no growth?
Yes, you're hitting the old plateau, if you will. You're hitting the ceiling that you can
not
do.
Worried about that is not my worry.
It's the bootstrap ceiling. I did this with my pocket money ceiling.
Okay. No.
I did this with my elbow grease.
Plateau is not my concern. No.
Which is of course different for people.
But I echo Tommy's sentiment, which is that I've been surprised at how the market has been intrinsically skeptical that this is real. Now, look, maybe that's me being dumb and naive, right? Because I've been in the laboratory behind me hiding until we got Tommy, and I didn't really appreciate maybe some of the nuances, but the reality is, people in the cannabis and hemp sector have had they've gone through the fire, right? And there's been for all kinds of different economic and regulatory reasons, and so our competition and technologies that use infrared light and whatever it is that people are just intrinsically skeptical, and so we have this job ahead of us also, which is earning trust from the customer.
What I heard Tommy say was that what you're doing is that you're actually delivering on the goods. There's a past reputation that you've got to move past because people are skeptical. But so you've got to get that, that out there. You're actually delivering the goods. You're actually going to deliver the promise that was made back there, but we can actually do it. And that's
right.
amazing. That's right on. Right on.
It's a great place to be in, that's for sure. I can relate in a few ways, or we can relate in a few ways. I do agree that, if that's where you're at, it's a great place to be because you're incentivized to inform anyways, educate, to, really explain your product, sell it, grow different, talk about the differentiators, which you've done a fantastic job of doing on this particular podcast here. So like ultimately, it's affordable, right? It's portable. It's easy to understand, right? Like I can't help but be myself. It'd be easy to,
it's definitely affordable. Like we said, HPLC can be 40 to 100 grand. The other kind of portable devices that aren't as portable as this, they run 10 to 20K. Ours is $1,500.
Yep.
And that's a price point that we believe that people can afford with this type of technology. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's all about access.
And the pricing is very transparent. Like when we give our customers a lifetime license to our web-based software, which is constantly being improved. There's Tommy's been spearheading some other surprises that are coming down the pipe with sort of API integration with some other, trusted laboratory testing. And so, we're really excited about the software that we have in place today. We call it our 1.0. It's highly capable and performant, but we know that our customers in the industry have a lot of wish lists for other capabilities, and we are completely committed to implementing all these additional features, on the software side that will, I think, continue to delight everybody.
Well, I think that's a great place as any to wrap up. As a matter of fact, a little teaser out there for everybody to chew on. Thank you first of all, Tommy and Eric, for the awesome discussion. Awesome. It flew by. Super informative and really interesting to hear about TetraSense and and where it's going, what it's doing. Speaking of which, before we send off, please remind everybody where they can learn more about TetraSense and see you all and maybe even learn and touch the product.
Fantastic.
You can go to tetra-sense.com. Our new website, by the time you guys see this, will be up and live. It has all our information on there. You can go to our YouTube channel. That's at TetraSense. Our Instagram is also at TetraSense, and we have a LinkedIn. We're going to be posting a whole ton of content and how it works videos on all those channels. And again, we'll see you guys at MJBiz. We're at booth 26222, and we're looking forward to breaking bread with everybody. It's so fun to see all the familiar and new faces in the cannabis industry, and let's share more.
Always a good talk. Yes.
Thank you so much, Brian and Aaron. Yeah, this was great.
No, thank you. It's amazing, and this is education in this space is always needed, and you can never have enough knowledge about what you're consuming. So absolutely, right on. Anything you need, reach out to us, guys, because I think it's amazing. Seriously,
us too, for sure. So please check out TetraSense. Find them at MJBizCon. Find me at MJBizCon. Check out BeardBrosFarms.com and Beard Bros Farms on all the platforms, and the old Beard Bros Media Network, which is the amazing YouTube channel that this particular here show, Some Guys Talking, will be on. So thank you to Aaron. Thank you to Tommy and Eric for joining us. Thank you for listening. We appreciate you. Take care, and we'll all talk soon. Be well.
Thank you.